Each and every year I like to try and get out and do a form of photography that would usually leave me avoiding it as much as possible. The last couple of years though, I've gotten out with the camera, walking around my home area, doing some street photography, sharing with you both my home area of Strood and last year quirky neighbouring Rochester. This is a form of photography that I would normally avoid, shy away from. However, I'm not someone to let my fears get the better of me where possible. So once more, let's get out and conquer what bothers me the most with the camera. The location I've picked to do my street photography this year is not exactly local, not like Strood or Rochester. Instead, I've decided to make the trip up into London, and hopefully I can put my mind at rest a little bit, act like a tourist instead of worrying about standing out amongst the crowd. Of course, I grew up in London, lived in the southeast of London for 30 years. I've worked up here as well, and one thing that took me by surprise a little bit when I came up to the capital last year on a few occasions was I never looked beyond those two aspects of work and live. That's all London ever was to me. And ever since I've started coming up here with the camera, I found it a great place to explore. You get some hidden gems, which is understandable really, because London has to be one of the most photographic cities in the world. However, today is all about street photography. I say that as I'm walking through St James's Park. I think if I had to put my finger on what bothers me the most whenever I head out with the camera, my mental health, my fear, the anxiety is definitely around street photography. It's definitely that aspect, it's definitely that field that bothers me the most. Question is, why do I do it then? I guess it's a bit ridiculous in a way, because the last couple of years I've been doing street photography around Strood, around Rochester, and it's not been a problem. However, it's not just street photography, it's talking on camera, putting together a YouTube video like what I'm doing now. I always find that if I'm putting together a video, I'll get out nice and early in the morning. No one to disturb me, get to do my own thing. Lovely, especially this time of the year where, of course, the sun comes up nice and early. But that is probably the biggest problem. If I sense someone around me, if I see someone walking past me, I freeze up, I can't talk to the camera. I guess the first thing to broach would be, what's the fear in the first place? What bothers me in the first place with getting out, doing this filming, doing street photography? I guess, if I think about it, it's embarrassment. But what have I got to be embarrassed about? I guess if I think about it on a deeper level, I'm going to think that people go and look at me, make some sarcastic remark, oh, look at him. Hasn't he got a bit of an ego, thinking that people want to listen to him put together these videos? After who's going to want to listen to a guy like me waffling on? I guess the secondary fear, the biggest fear, is the fear of confrontation. The fact that someone might see what I'm doing, might accidentally grab them in the shot, and they'll come up to me aggressively. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing that. Those are the sort of things that run through my head, the various scenarios that run through my head that could happen one day. And if it did, I'm not the confrontational type of person. I don't know how I'd deal with it. I don't know how I'd handle it. So yeah, there's always that fear that I'll get confronted over what I'm doing. And I'll walk away and I'll put the camera down. I won't do any filming, I'll be too embarrassed. The crazy thing is, what's so ridiculous about that is the fact that each time I've put one of these street photography videos together, each time I've gone out and done street photography, those concerns, they've never happened. I've never had to worry about someone coming up to me and saying, you shouldn't be doing that, you can't be doing that. It's all in my own head. need to get out of my own head at times. The trouble is, it's easier said than done, because there's always the first time that where it could happen. Perhaps one of my fondest memories of getting out with the camera in 2025 involved me undertaking the London photography project. There were about 5 or 6 different trips into various parts of the capital, which allowed me on each occasion to explore and unearth parts of the capital that I never knew existed previously. And some of the images that I captured from those various trips into London were definitely some of my favourite shots that I managed to capture across the entirety of the calendar year. Around the November time, I made one last trip which saw me head along to the Millennium Bridge. It was there that I vowed to return to London in 2026. Yet this day is the first opportunity where I've been able to keep that promise. You know, out of all those trips that I made up to the capital, there was always one spot that I wanted to come out and stand in with the camera. It's what I consider one of the most iconic photography spots that you can stand in the entirety of London. When I decided to come up here and do some street photography, I realised there was an opportunity not just to combat my fears, not just to battle my mental health with photography, but also an opportunity to capture this particular shot. Of course, the only downside of coming out here and capturing this particular shot today is I'm once again out pre-sunrise, and with the summer solstice almost upon us, I'm out here damned early this particular morning, but hopefully it'll be very much worth it. I mean, can you get a more iconic shot than this here in London? We've got Westminster Bridge leading our way in from the right of the shot. We've got Big Ben, the Houses of Parliament looming up in the background. All I need this morning is a little bit more light, a little bit more colour, get a nice long exposure, smooth out the water, and hopefully I'll grab one of those most iconic shots that I've long wanted from the capital.